I made millions of coins while completely AFK. Here's how. There are a ton of methods in Hypixel Skyblock which you can do simultaneously to rack up as many coins as possible. Now, this is a huge variety of stuff through all sorts of facets of the game, and just stay tuned to the very end to figure out all these methods combined to make as much money as possible. Now, I made a video a while ago about how I made millions AFK, but admins have since patched that old method and a couple other ones out there. But luckily, there are still some new money-making methods that can be done with no gear, no weapons, barely even a setup, and completely AFK. Now, the first method's on the garden. All you need is a garden and an AFK pool. That's it. All you do is you wait for visitors to come to your island. Now, technically leveling up your garden, and I think it's like at some point you decrease the visitor time from 15 to 12 minutes, and that technically is an increase, which is very important because then you get more visitors every hour. Now, there's a couple things that we're keeping a track of for these visitors, one of which is the overgrown grass. Now, this grass sells for 70 million coins at the time of recording to the bazaar. Now, of course, it's a 1 in 1,000 chance, but there's actually way more ways to make money with garden visitors, including copper. No, I'm not talking about the disappointing addition in the 1.17 Minecraft update. I'm talking about the copper that you get from accepting any visitor offer. Now, some of these offers are a little better than others. Some mods track the amount of coins per copper for every visitor, but this has some problems. Now, the first is that it tracks insta-buy prices on Bazaar and not buy orders. For most crops, this is a very small margin and won't matter too much, but other times it can make a huge difference. For example, the extra step to craft enchanted cocoa beans into an enchanted cookie can sometimes raise the price thousands of coins for arbitrarily no reason. The next is that this actually doesn't track all of the values of items inside the trait. Books from the librarian, other rare items such as the green bandana, rare runes from dusk, or money that you gain from pet XP while claiming offers, and technically bits now, but this wasn't factored into the calculation, and it's such a small, minute increase, it really changes it by like 10k at most, which is barely anything. Another huge thing with the pet XP is actually the type of pet that you should be doing. Now, I've tracked AH prices for a bit, and I found that chicken pet is the most consistent to make a lot of money, and on average with all my farming XP boosts and such, I am able to gain about 5 coins per farming XP that's in the visitors, so I usually factor that in and run my own calculations because sometimes that can change whether an NPC is profitable or not. Now, the final coins per copper, which is after you've subtracted all the other things that make money, like XP and other items that are included, the coins per copper should be below 5.8k coins, because then you can purchase items such as green thumb books and then make them green thumb 5. Now, it does take a lot of copper, so if you want to just sell them as green thumb 1, that's fine too, and that's the best way to make money through copper. Now, some important things to note about the garden visitor slots. Now, there's technically 5, but there's actually a 6th. Now, this is because the timer for the next visitor will count down even while the queue is full. So the timer will count down and technically store a 6th visitor, and in some strange purgatory, this visitor is just stuck in limbo until a slot opens and then you just instantly go onto your island. Now, keep in mind that even though you can do this, I do recommend clearing or accepting visitors so that you don't leave your queue full, because once that 6th visitor is registered and the timer has completely gone through, it actually will stop there and it won't count down and you can't get any new visitors. But if that slot is still open, it'll count down even while the queue is full. So try to avoid that. Just like make sure you're not like exceeding that timer and then you're not wasting visitors. Additionally, a fun fact about the timer is you don't even need to be on your garden for it to count down. You don't need to be playing Skyblock. You don't need to be on Hypixel. It'll count down on its own. So if you want to like be just every 12 minutes revisit your garden, you know, in between every few dungeon runs, Kudras, just whatever you want to do, as long as you keep revisiting your garden, as long as it's not like a lobby specific thing that you're doing. Basically, this is just an addition to any money-making method that you can be doing, and just something to visit back to, because it's actually very easy to level up your garden level as well, which can be very painful for some people that don't like farming. On a completely unrelated note, did you know you could actually spell words out with the garden visitors on your island? Now, let's cover some important things about specific visitors. Now, all of the emissaries will give powder, but personally, I don't think this is really makes them worth it because powder grinding is not that bad, especially if you're going for daily powders and daily commissions. Now, I usually always accept Seymour's offer because, there's always a slight chance that you'll get some cool hex that'll be worth millions, even though like 99.99% of the time you're just getting like random arrays of colored armor. But I think it's really fun and it looks super cool to get all these like different colors and varieties to the same armor set. I just think it's pretty unique. Now, I would never spend billions on exotics. I don't think I'll ever go there, but it's still something cool to have. So for the past few months, I've been tracking all of the garden visitors that I got until I hit Garden 15. I recorded data from 621 garden visitors, and here are the results. 196 of the 621 garden visitors were actually profit, and I gained about 338,000 coins on average from each of them, which in total is about 162,000 coins per unique visitor. Now, ultimately, giving like 810k coins an hour while AFK. Now keep in mind this isn't going to be consistent, but according to the law of large numbers and probabilities, you should statistically be getting somewhere close to this if you spend hours and hours AFK. And of course it is always subject to change depending on the prices of copper shifting, all sorts of items decreasing and increasing in value. So it's not a set number by any means. Now, there's actually quite a few huge money-making methods while AFK. Another big one is the forge. Now, there are a couple things that I found really reliable to keep forging consistently, and that is gemstone mixtures and power crystals. Each of these gives about 750k an hour. Of course, it fluctuates depending on the price of starfall changing, certain gemstones, whether or not it's coal or there's mining events or something. It just all depends, but like, on average about 750k an hour. Additionally, leaving a pet in cat will allow you to make even more money. Now, the best pet that I found to do this with is the silverfish pet. Leveling it from epic to legendary makes 2 million coins profit, and it only takes 3 days to do so. This makes about 575,000 coins a day, or about 24,000 coins an hour. Now, bank interest also gives a lot of money, but it really depends on your bank account status and how much money you have in the bank. For me personally, I have the affluent bank account and I make about 600k interest every 31 hours. Now, bits also make some good money, but you do need a high enough rank in order to make over 8,000 bits per cookie in order for this to be profit. I have the Attache rank, so I make about 1.8 mil per cookie when buying Kismet feathers during Paul. But when reducing it to the amount per hour, it's about 200k an hour. Now, there's some other small additions like daily allowance and the emerald ring, which increase the amount by 2,143 coins per hour. Now, minions also make a lot of money, but since many people have all sorts of different setups, differing amounts of minions, and just all sorts of like different buffs for the minions, so this is very hard to calculate for everybody, but do know that having a good setup can make you millions of coins each day depending on which minion you decide to put down. Or if you just want to go for collections or skills, that's also an option as well for your minions. Now, after compiling all of these methods I have into the amount of money in the grand total coins per hour, I make 1,820,000 coins per hour. Now, it's not very great compared to many other money-making methods, but I do think that this is actually really good because not only are you doing absolutely nothing, but you can also stack it on top of pretty much any other method or thing that you're doing in the game. All you have to do is keep your forge full, make sure you earn bits from every cookie, leave a pet and cat, revisit your island every 12 minutes, and this will just make you a bunch of easy money over time. And I really do recommend it because it's pretty simple, and in terms of the garden itself, which is the biggest method, you don't even need any requirements except for Skyblock level 5, and you get this like super early on into the game. So it's a method that can be used at any point in the game, and based on how rare some of these items can be and how little the copper prices have changed in, I'd say, at least like 6 months, this is a very consistent method that really shouldn't change too much when people start doing it. So if you found this video useful, make sure to subscribe so you don't miss future content and all sorts of crazy new techniques and methods that I've got posted. Anyways, hope to see you guys next time. Bye!